So I wanted to take just a second and walk through the if-else statement that we did for practice in class last time. So remember, we're trying to find out what their age is, what their salary is, how much do they save in retirement. Okay, so we ask them pretty easily, what is your age, what is your salary, and how much do you have saved in retirement? And I make each of those an int. Okay. Technically, they could be something else, but for right now, int is perfectly fine. And what we're trying to come up with is this, what I call the savings rate, okay? And so we just take retirement and divide it by salary to see how many times how many times salary can go into their retirement. So we started out with an if statement, if, and then this is the condition. Remember, inside an if statement, we always have a condition. If age is less than 16, we set the status equal to too young. And we don't need a period there. Okay. Then we go into the elif. Okay. So elif, or else if age is less than 30, then we're going to go into a nested if statement. Okay. So notice we have ifs out here. These are our if, elif, and then else. Okay. And then notice that inside them, we also have a nested if. So if the savings rate is less than 1, we set the status to a low saver. If it's less than 1.5, a medium saver. And then else, everything else is going to be a high saver. It means it's greater than 1.5. Now, interestingly, you don't have to add that second the floor. So this is the floor. You don't have to add the ceiling. You don't have to say if a savings rate is less than 1 and savings rate is greater than 1.4. You don't have to do that because this is going to take everything less than 1. This will take everything that's greater than 1 but less than 1.5. Okay? And then you go through if the age is less than 45. We've already subtracted out all the ones less than 16, all the ones less than 30. Now we're going to do anything that's less than 45, and it's going to come in and answer these 4 questions. And we'll do the same thing with less than 55. And then otherwise, we set the status to too old. So this, notice we just said status, status, status. So at the very end of the day, we can say, we can print out after all this is done, you are either too young, a low saver, a high saver, a medium saver, or too old. And we just set it in here. And since we just use the curly brackets, and then we put that period at the end, which is why we didn't need the period after too old. So that's essentially how you do it. Now, a couple people have done stuff like instead of an elif here, they just do an if. Okay, what's going to happen is if they're less than 16, they'll be too young. But then 16 is also less than 30, so then it will replace it with a low saver. Okay, so that's why we got to do elif here. Okay, so if we don't do an elif, we just go if, it will replace that status with the next one. Okay, so that's why we do the elif here. And we always want to end with else instead of elif. We always want to have our last one as else. It'll capture everything else. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is really the correct answer. For the most part, everybody looked like they did a pretty good job. If you have questions, shoot me an email.